I'm Rick Phillips. I'm trained as a poultry veterinarian, crossed over in my earlier career to business. I have risen in the business world over the years.
Did you come from money? Did you grow up with money?
Absolutely not. I grew up poor.
A wise man was saying, a hard time creates strong man create easy time create weak man, a weak man create a hard time.
If you got a loving family, you grow up poor, it's a different motivator.
I see there is a doctor and an entrepreneur version of you, right?
That's right.
So what's the difference between a doctor mindset and entrepreneur mindset as a businessman right now?
I grew up around entrepreneurial spirit. In America, we have a tremendous opportunity. It's not a place, it's an idea.
What's your biggest challenge growing up and to get to or to become who you are right now?
Having enough money to stay in college. That was the first thing.
You know life without money and you know life now with money. So what money means to you?
Money is power. Money is not the root of all evil. The worship of money is the evil.
$1 billion table is where you educate yourself to do better. I believe business is life. So if you're really doing good in business, you will do good in life. But if you're not doing good in life, you will never do good in business because everything is connected. And we're here to figure out. Because if you know more, you can do more. And if you know better, you can do better. Thank you so much, Dr. Rick. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate yours. I appreciate you allowing me to sit down with you.
Man, it's a pleasure. And I'm really excited. So let's get to it.
Let's go.
How you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Rick Phillips. I'm trained as a poultry veterinarian. Crossed over in my earlier career to business, and have risen in the business world over the years, and learned a lot in my career.
That's awesome. And I mean, I think you did a lot too. You have been doing great. You inspire me all the time, as I told you. I think you are a great leader. I can see in every meeting that we have in a family time. I see your moves, I see your achievement, and I respect that.
I appreciate it.
A lot of people see, like they see the glory, but they don't know the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you come from money? Did you grow up with money?
Absolutely not. I grew up poor, grew up with all of my uncles and my father being blue collar world. Learned a lot of trades growing up, but we did not have money. We moved a lot because we didn't have enough to pay rent, had to move middle of the night sometimes. But all in all, I would say I had a good childhood. I learned a lot through those times, but it was difficult at times.
So just tell me, can you tell me a little more? Like, how did you grow up? Where did you grow up? And how it feels like growing up without money, without support?
Well, when you're growing up, you don't really know, especially back then, as it is today, you don't really know. If you have a loving family, you don't really recognize whether you have money or not. We had a very loving family. We had a close-knit family that lived close by, and we spent a lot of quality time together. I grew up outside of a small town outside of New Orleans, Louisiana, and most of my family's from there. In fact, I recently went back and looked at our genealogy to see where we were from, see where we were from over the pond. Went back 5 generations and never left New Orleans, so I stopped looking, My family tree was becoming a wreath, so I wanted to make sure I stopped looking.
I think New Orleans is actually a family place. A lot of people, I feel like the culture here is well connected. People always have this family background. They always value family over a lot of, compare it to Florida and see how the culture actually always in a race. They just want to do more, become more, have more. And coming back to New Orleans, I feel like here, the culture, the number one value is actually family, having good time, quality time, as you say.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think it's necessary to be connected to your roots.
Absolutely. And, with my global travel, I got to see a lot of cultures and meet a lot of different people and see a lot of different family structures and how they operate. And I can say that New Orleans is very unique. It was. We like to have fun. We love people. We love engaging, and not all cultures are like that, not all people like that, not all families like that, but we were. So to go back to your original question, growing up without money, I never recognized that I didn't have money, but I was blessed enough to have a wonderful, fun-loving family.
Blessing. So
Yeah.
how you got here? How you made it? How you get success? All the success that you created right now.
Well, I mean, the motivational factor for me was going hungry, or afraid to go hungry. As I said, we grew up. We didn't grow up dirt poor, but we grew up enough. With we were living month to month, and as I said, sometimes we had to move in the middle of the night because we didn't have enough to pay the rent, and I didn't want to put my family through that. So I was motivated that if I started a family, that I would have more stability for the basic needs. So it was provide a house, provide clothing, good schooling, food. That was my motivation, and I realized that the blue collar at the time trades were wonderful trades, but that I probably had a better chance because no one really in my family had gone to college.
Right.
That I set my sight on college and just enhance my education. I was fortunate that my father recognized education was important, and through his struggles, he actually put us in private schools, and
Wow,
and
that's
that
blessing.
made the difference from public school to private school. And he valued education, even though he only had a sixth grade education. He valued it, knew how important it was, and always preached that. And in fact, on his deathbed, he asked me, because I was going to quit college. I just started college when he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I said, look, I'm going to quit. I'm just going to keep your shop open and take care of my mom. My mom was a housewife. My youngest brother was still in school. And my dad made me promise him that I would stay in college and pursue an education on his deathbed. So that was my main motivation in a form of making a more secure or consistent money. If that makes sense.
That's blessing. I think.
Yeah.
I think pain. One time I heard a wise man was saying, "A hard time create a strong man. A strong man create easy time. Easy time create weak man. A weak man create a hard time." So now when I'm listening to you, I feel like the pain was, because it's just like a few minutes ago you were saying that you are a problem solver, right?
Mhm.
And I think you just like explain it in a different way. You have the problem, which is the pain at that time from not having money, and you create from that pain a solution for you to have what you have right now and to help the people that you're helping right now.
That's right. Yeah, and look, it can go the other direction as well. I mean, growing up poorer than we did it could be a negative effect, right? But I think that the core that's needed there is family, love.
Mhm.
So if you get a loving family and you grow up poor, I think it's a different motivator than not having a loving family or a broken family and being poor can really destroy damage you. So we got to be careful how we recognize that. But in your statement of making strong men and making weak men, I agree. I'm a very strong believer in the hierarchy, and only meaning that men and women do have a role in life, and men have lost their way, in my opinion, in today's society. And that is, we are the protector of our wives, our family, and we should be willing to sacrifice for them at all cost. And I think that's kind of lost today.
Why do you think so?
I think it's different factors. I think in the past, women were not treated right by men. Women decided they had enough, especially in the United States, and we had the women's suffrage, the movement, and they became independent and said, "Look, I'm not going to depend on you because I can't depend on you." And so fault is with men. So we wasn't doing our obligation to protect our women and our wives properly. They basically revolted, I think, through the 60s and their independence, and they became established as independent. And now men, as I say, we need dragons to slay.
If they don't know you, they can't pay you. Let's face it. And if you really want to elevate, if you want to get to the next level in your business,
You need us. You need Let's Go Viral team, because we know exactly how to bring your business, your service, or your product to the right target audience. Listen, it's not about just to try, it's about to do it, right? And we are so confident because we have done this to ourselves, to our company, and we are doing it for a lot of our clients, and we want to collaborate with you. Listen, this is something gonna work in 90 days. So if you're really ready, if you're hungry and you wanna elevate, we have the perfect team for you. Just go ahead and DM us. In the description, you will see the link for our website so we can set up a meeting and we can go viral. Let's go viral. Let's do it. Let's work.
Men need our dragons to slay, and our dragons are being lost because women are independent. They're capable, just as men are, but we've lost our way with respect to how do we defend our women, how do we provide for them when they're capable of providing for themselves. Right. So I think in that capacity, we're trying to find dragons to slay, and unfortunately, that can turn to different types of dragons. Right? It can turn to drugs. It can turn to video games. It can turn to escaping into virtual reality, and not really confronting the issues of the day. Because look, at the end of the day, we've got to survive together. It's about family,
Right.
And in my case, I'm very spiritual. It's about God. God has created a very hierarchical plan for us, and the first and foremost is I have to understand what His plan is for me. And that takes a lot of study, a lot of prayers, a lot of listening, before I can stand and be the man God wants me to be, and I can be that for my family. And
Wow.
so I think in general, we've kind of lost that. Whether we lost our faith in God no longer plays the role He used to play. Men drifted from what God's plan was. Women revolted, and I'm not blaming them. They should have, in the abusive relationship. Basically not taking care of them and respecting them. They've become independent. Men have lost their value as a provider, and now we're trying to figure out how we get back.
Right. That's really great way to explain it, because I think my faith is action. I think faith is action, and a lot of people, they think, oh, I believe in God, and I'm like, why are you not following Him? Like, why you're not doing what He asked you to actually do? And I feel like now faith is waiting. There's people, oh, I believe it's gonna work out. I'm like, if it didn't work, it's not gonna work. Like, you have to make it work out. You have to work it out. And now by you saying it takes you a lot of work, by listening, by studying, by actually praying, by making things happen, not just actually waiting for it to be happen. And I think I agree with you 100%. The way how man today is sometimes, I don't know how to explain it, but I think it's really difficult. It's a difficult time. I don't know how the future will look like, but just praying that something will come to excel out, because I feel like also my motivation was pain and still pain, because I feel like I don't want to look backward though. I think it's just so painful. Mm-hmm. To look to the past or to live in there or to think about it. I just want to go forward and see what can I manifest, what can I create in God's name, and how can I actually have the best version of me that can serve God and my family at the same time. So I really respect the way you think, and I see there is a doctor and an entrepreneur, version of you, right?
That's right.
So what's the difference between a doctor mindset and entrepreneur mindset as a businessman right now?
Well, as I said, my family, being blue collar, a lot of them were independent. They owned their own businesses.
Right.
So whether they were plumbers, construction workers, my father was an auto mechanic, owned his own business. I grew up around entrepreneurial spirit. Okay. And you alluded to it. In America, we have a tremendous opportunity that America provides for people, and that's being lost as well. And what I mean by that is people think that America is a place. It's not a place, it's an idea. And that idea is that man can rule himself, and that means that you come and you create your opportunities, you create your future. That's allowed here. Now, Are everybody equal? No. Are you guaranteed equal outcome?
Right.
No. But if you try hard, put your head down, and look forward, and show up every day and work hard, you can succeed. And there's no doubt about it, because like I said, I travel globally, and I see different governmental structures that no matter how hard you work, you can't achieve it. You know, and the way you grew up is you know, the perspective you have, and I watch some of the Americans and what they're complaining about. They have no clue how bad things can get. And when I say I'm a blessed man, what I mean by that is I always know that there's someone in worse condition than I am. That my condition can be worse. No matter what it is, it can be worse. One. Two, that God sets my plan, and He is making me a better person. He is instilling in me to be a better person by putting me through trials and tribulations. So it is not for me to condemn that. It's for me to realize that that's a blessing, and to continue to move forward. And to take the tools He has given me, because I have nothing. I'm a sinner. He has given me the tools. He has given me everything I need to succeed, to follow His plan. So first I have to listen. I have to understand what His plan is. And then I follow that. That's my number one rule. And when you do that, when you bring God into your life and you really listen to Him, His plan's perfect.
Wow.
So my plan is not perfect. It's not my plan. It's not my will. It's His. And the problem in today's world is we try to be God. We try to make it our will. And that's why we struggle. We struggle. So He does have a plan. You first have to believe. You got to listen, and then just follow. And no, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. But you know that what's happening is a father to his son or to his daughter is doing these things to make you a better person. So once that's a mindset, right? Once you have that mindset, I show up at work and the first thing they say is, "You're the happiest person I've ever seen. You're always smiling. You're always," I don't understand, because I'm a blessed man.
Right.
It starts with that. So I know I'm blessed. So I have nothing to complain about. Do I complain? Yes, we all complain, but in a very shallow way, you know, but realizing in the back of my mind saying, stop complaining, you're a blessed man. So that there gives you freedom. So once you're freed from the fear of all the things you don't know, and you know God has you, then you can move forward with confidence. And boy, confidence can drive you in your personal life and business life, right? People can smell fear, and people smell confidence.
100%.
And leadership, you got to have confidence. And majority of people want strong leadership. They're looking for strong leadership, and they want to follow. So it's my duty, if I'm going to lead people, to learn how to be the most effective leader I can be.
That's
and
powerful.
that's what I've been working on.
And I think you are a really great leader. And now listening, I think the faith that you have made you like really strong leader as well. So I also like when you say that we are not equal. My mentor once he told me, he's like, listen, we are equal as a spirit, but we're not equal at in the marketplace.
That is right.
So the more valuable you become, the more you're actually gonna receive, because it's not about who you are. It's just, oh, I'm blessed, I have to get everything, and like everything is there. You just have to be valuable enough to actually receive what you actually did. And I think today, just by being grateful, I think is just a big key to receive more. I mean, understanding that the American dream, as you said, it's an idea. Everything is an idea. The phone is an idea. This podcast is an idea. Everything starts with the idea. But a lot of people, I feel like they stuck with the problem, because you can't be grateful and afraid at the same time, right? You can't believe, faithful and afraid at the same time. You have to pick one. And I feel like a lot of people have this complaining mindset. They have the victim mindset. They just don't want to break through that mindset, and they stuck in there, and they think, oh, life is happening to them.
That's right.
When actually, from what I'm understanding right now, and Tony Robbins once said, life is happening for you, it's not to you. So how do you overcome problems in your perspective? If like, I mean, I know there is a lot of people right now watching us, and they have a problem, right?
Yeah.
And they have some maybe, I think, a block. I call it like a mental block, that they not I mean, maybe they don't have the tools or they don't have the power or the courage to break through it. If they don't know you, they can't pay you. Let's face it. And if you really want to elevate, if you want to get to the next level in your business, you need us. You need Let's Go Viral team, because we know exactly how to bring your business, your service, or your product to the right target audience. Listen, it's not about just try, it's about to do it, right? And we are so confident because we have done this to ourselves, to our company, and we are doing it for a lot of our clients, and we want to collaborate with you. Listen, this is something gonna work in 90 days. So if you're really ready, if you're hungry and you wanna elevate, we have the perfect team for you. Just go ahead and DM us. In the description, you will see the link for our website so we can set up a meeting and we can go viral. Let's go viral. Let's do it. Let's work. What you think is the fastest way for somebody to actually make that shift in his?
It's a mental shift. The first thing is you got to realize or really understand how the mind works. You can exercise your mind like you exercise your body. You know, if you're going to be a top athlete, you know you got to exercise. You got to do your due diligence to prepare for whatever sport you're going to be in. If you're going to be a strong leader, you're going to have to prepare, whether that's leadership in your personal life or your business life. You have to prepare your mind. It starts in your head. You know, Gandhi once said, "Never let a man with dirty shoes walk across your mind." Meaning, never let another man into your head. And playing a victim is you're letting people into your head, and that's your fault. That's not the person that you're thinking is holding you back. So what is that mindset? The way the mind works, and this is important, is your base brain is where all your stimulus come through. It's your amygdala. And everything comes through that. And that's your emotional state. That's where all your emotions are. And your frontal lobe is what separates us from the rest of the animals. We have this frontal lobe, which is logic, which is thinking. Right? So in order for all your stimuli that goes on in your life to come through to your frontal lobe, it's got to get through your amygdala. And some people, the way their brains work, tend to spend more time in their amygdala, and some people spend more time in their frontal lobe. Thank God most of us have a balance. You know, we all got to come through the amygdala, but you can, and this is an important part, actually exercise and recognize first that is occurring, that your emotional state is because things come through your amygdala. And when that happens, your neurons fire, and the chemical reaction that's there lasts for a bit of time, meaning you're in an emotional state for all, even though you know you're in an emotional state, you're still emotional. So you don't want to make decisions when you're in that state, because those decisions are made poor when you're in your emotional state. They're weak decisions and they're not clear. So you got to just practice understanding that and spending more and more time into your frontal lobe. And the way I did that over time was, I grew up with a very emotional father. He was a rageaholic.
Wow.
He would set off and just get emotional, and I had to deal with that growing up, and watching him. And I didn't want to be that, and I was starting to emulate that at a young age. But what I realized was I can literally mentally sit between my amygdala and my frontal lobe and look at both sides, right? So I know when I'm being emotional, and I know when I got to just stop and walk away and not say another word, because I'm in my emotional state, and I know I'm not thinking logically. And then calm down and then pull myself into my logical state. And those are behaviors you can work on. And over time, you get better and better at it to where you spend a majority of time in your frontal lobe. And when you're in your frontal lobe and you're in your emotional state, I own you. I own you.
Of course.
If I stay in my logical state, now in human, and you see it today especially, is we have regressed. And the majority of people spend majority of their time, and they're being taught and encouraged to stay in their emotional state. And when I'm in my emotional state, when you're not thinking logically, what you tend to do is you tend to go personal on me because you're emotional. So you attack me personally. Now, usually when people attack personally, they go personal. They go emotional. So now we're both emotional. Now we're going down in a black hole, and it's not going to turn out right. Nobody wins. But in personal life or business life, if you're allowed to stay above the fray, and you can learn this at a young age and early in your career, you can accelerate rapidly in your success. Stay above the emotional state, stay logical, and make logical decisions. Now, I said I can own you by doing that. I can have two outcomes. I can be nefarious and own you and take advantage of you in those states, become a hustler, or I could be a servant leader and help you be the man or the woman you should be, and knowing you in the most and help you get to that next level. And I chose the latter, and I spent a lot of my time understanding people's state of mind, what they're trying to achieve in their life, and help them get there. And through that, and do some of these trainings with them, you know, and when we're together, whether it's my children, my friends, and or my associates at work. That there is the magic sauce. There's books on it, you know, but just practicing that, first recognizing that exists, practicing how to get out of your emotional state into your logical state, spending more time there, recognizing when another person's in their emotional state and then is affecting you. Now, where does that happen most? Husband and wives, right? When a wife or a husband says something that upsets the spouse, then all of a sudden the spouse reacts, and then it's a fight coming.
Right.
But the person that can stay above, my wife and I have not raised our voice to each other in years.
Wow.
Years. And it's not that we don't disagree, it's just that we're not going to follow each other into that emotional state. When we recognize when each other's in it, we back away, allow time, and then come back and have a conversation when things calm down. So I know it's a lot, that's kind of heavy on the science side, but it's there's a lot of books out there on the, you know, that can be read, that can be better understood, but it's magical.
I believe so, and I think this is awesome because where we started, we were talking about the man, why they're becoming so weak. I think because they are so emotional right now. And I think this is a really big problem, because if they are, I think the emotional man is still a child. It's not a man yet.
That's right.
In my perspective. So growing up with, man, I really love the way you think. It's just like amazing how, because I read these books, like I read them, but now understanding from a doctor, because, you know, a lot of my friend doctors, they sadly stop believing because they think, you know, everything is just knowledge, and no, this is why there is no creator, and there is all science, and I can't tell you why you're tired. I'm like, man, no, he's tired because he actually did something wrong, and that's what created the pain and the pain. So yeah, now you actually, as a doctor, telling me all this, and I mean, telling it to everybody is really powerful.
And on that subject, though, this is another good point, because there's a split, and so when I'm having conversations with my atheist, educated doctorate or doctoral friends, how do I engage with that conversation? You know, how do we? What I learned was how do in society in general, not just in that scenario, but just in society in general, how do we seem to be divided on everything, right? We can't come to an agreement. So I said, you know, one day I was sitting, I was thinking, I gotta come up with a starter and go up the tree, up the line where it no longer divides. And I can state one statement that we all will agree to. And then walk our way down and see where we divide. And then we can have a conversation. Because I feel like we start with a disagreement, whether it's politics, religion, we're starting way down in rabbit holes, right? So we don't even know where we divide, you know, where we're common and where we divide, because the majority we have in common. And then all of a sudden we're wearing different jerseys and we're enemies. So I'm saying, okay, that's not the case. So how do we do this? So I come up with this one thing, and that was, can we agree that that there's an absolute truth? Now, I thought that was a simple statement. I set people off immediately, like, because now absolute truth. And I had a 15-year-old, we were at a table one day with all these adults, educated adults, and a 15-year-old, one of the daughters of one of my friends, said, and they were all disagreeing with me, and we can't agree with that, and they were all going to different places what that meant. And I didn't state what it meant. I had no meaning. It was just that absolute truth. We can agree that's an absolute truth. And she said, well, let me look it up. She Googles it. So she Googles absolute, she Googles truth. She said, well, absolute just means all things considered. Everything isn't considered. And she said, you're not saying that it's a God. I'm like, I didn't say that. I just said that whether you're an atheist, whether you believe in God, wherever you are, that there's an absolute. And I had an astrophysicist friend that said, well, an astrophysicist, we believe that there's the chaotic theory. That's okay, then that's your absolute.
Right.
I'm not telling you what your absolute, my absolute is. I'm just saying, can we agree there's an absolute? So finally we get agreement. So there's an absolute. That means that if there's an absolute, there's infinity. There's an infinity of knowledge. So if we can come to an agreement that there's an infinity of knowledge, and no matter how smart I think I am, no matter how much time I spend in college, no matter how much time I spend reading, I know nothing.
Right.
You know nothing.
Absolutely.
When we come together and we start having a conversation, well, I'm going to come in with tremendous humility to say, I know nothing as it's related to infinity. I'm coming in to learn something from you, and you can learn something from me. But we both have to depart realizing we didn't move the needle much on our knowledge. Because if you take the smartest person that's ever lived, the most knowledgeable person that's ever lived in humankind, mankind, and the least educated, right? And you'll have two dots like this. But if you put it on a scale of infinity, knowledge, it goes like this. So we can't really discern. So the arrogance of man is causing a lot of the problems. We're playing God. We think we know the answer. So going back to your question on my doctor friends, you know nothing as it's related to infinity.
Right.
So can we just agree that there's an infinite amount of knowledge which brings tremendous humility to the conversation, and at least we can walk away a hug, say, man, I love you, appreciate you sharing with me.
Right.
But man, you know, I know you could be right or wrong, I could be right or wrong, because we don't know the infinite knowledge, and you walk away.
Right.
And I think if we took that tack today, and most people took that tack, one, we'd learn a hell of a lot more from each other. We'd love each other more, and we would have tremendous more humility, which the world needs.
I think this is awesome, because I think I call that ego. I don't know if you agree with me.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's how people, they always want to, they don't want to learn, they want to prove that they are right. That's all.
And why is that?
I think ego is just because
But why, what?
it's lack of confidence.
Yeah, why does a person have to have that? You know, that's the ultimate question, right? Because it's real, right? It's real in all of us.
I know.
It's pride, it's ego, it's self, it's self over others, right? We're geared towards me first, me first. And if you have a culture that feeds that, then it's going to get really ugly.
I know.
You know, and how do you break that cycle and say, because love,
it's the only way.
love, and people throw that word around a lot. I love my dog. I love my crackers. I love my chips. No, love, unconditional love, cannot be given by another human being. Absolutely. Unconditional love cannot be given by another human being. The only one that can unconditionally love you is God.
Right.
That's where love comes from. And what is love? That is giving to another without worrying about self, right? So I'm worried about you over self. And this is going back to the business, because that's a servant leader. If you can become a servant leader, you're a powerful leader. But you got to have that mindset, and it's got to be real. It's got to be genuine. And that is, I love you, and I care for you, and I care what happens to you, and therefore I'm going to sacrifice myself for you. You know, I mean, not gonna throw myself off a bridge. You know, you have a balance, but meaning that my love of self, meaning my care of my feeding myself, housing myself, my family, I'm going to put equal to you and be compassionate of what you're going through. If we can have that kind of state, that's love, sharing, then we would see a whole different dynamics in business and in our personal lives.
That's right.
But the ego and the pride, when that's fed, then it's very ugly. And that's a cycle we're in. It's just a cycle, it's a cyclum, but we're in that cycle where it's about me. I'm okay, you're not okay.
Right.
That's the cycle we're in. And that's a very bad outcome that's going to come to society.
I really agree. I think that's the biggest cause for wars, separation, and for lack. I think a lot of people, they have like, one time I was in this conversation with I think one of my business partners, and we were talking. I'm like, man, I'm not taking from you. You're not taking from me. There is abundance.
That's right.
There's a lot of everything, like a lot of trees, a lot of money, a lot of opportunities, a lot of clients. We actually can collaborate, and I'm not trying to take from you. And however you grow, you're not taking from me. Like this is infinity right here. And I think that's what, in my perspective, black people blessings, because they think, oh, this is only 5 clients in here, and I want the 5 of them for me. I'm like, bro, like there is maybe 1,000. There is maybe unlimited. So how, you know, it's not easy to get to this level. What's your biggest challenge growing up and to get to or to become who you are right now?
It was my father being sick and having enough money to stay in college. That was the first thing. It was his stating that, hey, make it a promise that I would stay in college, which forced me to find ways to pay for college. So that was 3 jobs and working through nights to stay in it. So that was some dark moments, trying to do all that and stay in and educate. But once I had the education, what I found was what served me the most in my success was the way I grew up. And that was working hard, showing up first, volunteering, never complaining. It wasn't about me, it was about the job, it was about getting it done. As I said, I'm a problem solver by nature. It's in my nature. I love problems, I love to solve problems, whether they're mechanical problems on a car, whether they're a sick dog, sick animal. I want to fix problems. Business. That's why I was drawn to business, because business is the most complex system there is.
I know.
And I am just endless on problem solving. And someone asked me the other day, well, why you work so hard? Why you said you can't slow down? Business won't allow you. If you want to do an excellent job, you can't slow down unless the business will suffer. So, but you got to figure out how to balance your life, your family life, because it will suck you in. So you got to figure out how to get on ramp and off ramp, but it's difficult because I see problems everywhere when I'm in a business and I want to help solve them. And what I found the easiest way to do that is build high performance teams.
Wow.
So being a servant leader, leading people, developing high performance teams, and then you can solve a lot more problems than you can do alone, right? So I'm not the smartest person in the room. Ever. I bring smart people around me, and now we have fun and celebrate solving problems.
Powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful, and it's
really
fun,
powerful.
right? And it's fun.
100%.
But it's a perspective. Like, I don't do it for me. I'm not doing it for the money. The money's a lagging indicator. It's the problem solving and seeing and being with people, because people are not, believe it or not, most people are not really motivated by money.
Right.
They think they are, but what they're motivated by is they want to be part of something great.
Right.
They want to know that they were contributed to that greatness, and they want to be recognized and rewarded for it. And that's where money comes in. But if you create a system where that is not happening, then that is a demotivating system. And when you're in a demotivating system, people are going to ask for money, and more money, right? And people are going to think the money is going to be the solution to their unhappiness, but it's not. In business, it's being part of a high performance team that's solving problems, being recognized for it, and high-fiving people at the end of the day. I promise you, I've seen it. And if you're not, then you're not on my bus.
Right.
So if you're just motivated by money, you want to just do it for the money, it's not the right attitude, because you're not going to be a happy camper. You're always going to be seeking. And I had those on the bus. Love you, but you're going to have to find another place. But it's not on the bus that I occupy. But that's kind of my learnings over the years is that part of human nature.
If they don't know you, they can't pay you. Let's face it. And if you really want to elevate, if you want to get to the next level in your business, you need us. You need Let's Go Viral team, because we know exactly how to bring your business, your service, or your product to the right target audience. Listen, it's not about just try, it's about to do it, right? And we are so confident because we have done this to ourselves, to our company, and we are doing it for a lot of our clients, and we want to collaborate with you. Listen, this is something gonna work in 90 days. So if you're really ready, if you're hungry and you wanna elevate, we have the perfect team for you. Just go ahead and DM us. In the description, you will see the link for our website so we can set up a meeting and we can go viral. Let's go viral. Let's do it. Let's work. Right. So talking about money, I like that, because I think if you're working for money, you will stop somewhere. And I think you're not working for something bigger than you, because money is not bigger than me, right? We are bigger than money. And I think we create money. Money doesn't create us. That's how I think, maybe. So you know life without money, and you know life now with money. So what money means to you?
money. Well, look, at the end of the day, money is power,
Right.
right? I mean, the more money you have, unfortunately, the more power you have, because you can manipulate a lot of things with a lot of money. And that's not, as I stated, that's not my motivation. So I'm not motivated by money. Money, it's funny. Money is. People don't understand what money really is. So money is an exchange of really your labor, whether that's physical or mental labor. Money is just an exchange, right? We used to barter, right? So if I was a good craftsman and made chairs, then I would barter my chairs for apples, and you grew apples. That's how we did it, but it's inefficient. So we created this thing called money as an exchange of our labor. But never forget that if you go all the way back to the root of it, it's my labor and my, whether that's physical or mental labor. Now, in my life, I'm going to only live a certain amount of time. And in that life, I can't work when I'm a certain age, right? Infants don't work. I mean, you get to a certain age and laws prevent you from really working. Then you hit the work age where you can work. And if you're fortunate to be physically and mentally able, you can get a job and start working. And then at some point in time, your body breaks down or you can't work anymore. So you got a finite amount of time. So that is really what we're exchanging is my labor. So when I work and I'm working in a governmental system that takes that from me through taxes, then they're actually in some form enslaving me because they're taking my labor.
Right.
So we think they're taking our money. They're not taking your money, they're taking your labor.
Right.
And I only have a finite amount of that. Now, if I live in a civil society as I do in the United States, then I freely give up a certain amount of taxes because I want to build roads and I want to share and I want to do this as a government. Knowing though that government is inefficient at distributing my money, right? My labor. They're inefficient at it. And then if you get where we are today, where you have a disruption in the normal cycle of governance, where money buys politicians and buys favors. That's happened. So now we don't have capitalism. Some people say capitalism has failed. Capitalism has failed. We haven't practiced free market capitalism in this country in a long time, truly. We have a tremendous amount of regulations in crony capitalism where the capitalism is being circumvented. Because the only thing where that free market capitalism will not work is in monopolies. Monopolies destroy free markets, right?
True.
And the biggest monopoly there is federal government. That's the biggest monopoly. And as that federal government grows, that monopoly grows. And as the monopoly grows, our free markets become weaker. And that's what's been happening in America. We're at the back end of we're about to hit a very bad financial crisis because we have abused the laws of free market. We have abused it to the point where it's like physics. You can carry it so far, but gravity will carry you 9.8 meters per second down, no matter what. I don't care who you are. When you jump, you're going down that fast. Money's the same way. Economy's the same way. So don't confuse that. The younger kids are confused by that as well. You're seeing what we call socialist or communist, coming back around that kind of mental thinking that everybody is equal, everybody gets equal. All you're going to have is equal nothing because there is not enough of anything to go around, right? So what is economics? Is the distribution of scarce resources that have alternative uses. So let me say it again. Distribution of scarce resources that have alternative uses. Now everything is scarce.
Right.
So if tomorrow I'm the government, I said, I dictate today that everybody has a right to a bucket of sand. There's not enough sand to give to everyone. They're going to find that out. So now we got buckets of sand and we can't give it to everybody. So that's the resource. Now who's going to distribute that? Who decides who gets it, who doesn't get it, right? What system do you have? It's going to be free market or is it going to be government? Now if it's government, the government's going to decide who gets that bucket of sand and they're going to decide who do you think is going to get it first? Their family, their friends, right? And then,
their supporter.
which is normal. Now, what happens is society says, hey, that's great, I love that sand, but I don't want a sand, I want glass. Well, sand can be turned into glass, that's alternative uses. And the government looks at it and says, well, wait a minute, I just put all the sand in buckets in the warehouse and we got to get rid of it. We haven't got rid of them yet. You see what I'm saying? And then it's inefficient. Whereas the free market, you and I can make a decision. You want a bucket of sand? No, I want glass. Okay, I'll turn it into how much you pay for it. We make that decision in microseconds. So free market operating without government, with minimum government, we can't do without government, minimum government allows speed at which you and I can have an interaction, and we can move markets rapidly in the direction they need to be moving properly, because that's
Right.
the desires of people and what they want, and the supply and demand is met. Whereas when government comes in, government circumvents that through their monopolies, and that system becomes inefficient and more inefficient to the point it breaks. And so it's concerning that people say that free market capitalism has failed. It hasn't failed
Right.
because it hasn't been practiced in a while. What has failed is our government following our founders' constitutional principles in the free market, and we haven't practiced in a while. So that's playing a role on. Well, I brought that up because it's the ultimate where our money goes and what our money does.
Right.
But keep that in mind, because that's another victimhood, and free market is the biggest detractor right now from men standing up and understanding what their roles are and how to operate within the systems we have.
No, I agree. I agree. And now by just seeing how, by just like the way you break it down, especially when you say the money is a labor, because a lot of people focusing on the physical labor, and I see from like just watching people who making millions just trading their mental labor by new ideas with AI right now, and even with the the online market is so crazy. A lot of young guys, they actually making a real wealth in a shorter of time. Because I grew up, my dad used to work, I think he used to be carpenter, right? So for us it was difficult. It's just really difficult because it's a hard work to do. It's actually you're not getting compensation like the way you want it,
Right.
for them, and we have a work this week, but next week we don't have work until we have another project to work on. And that's why I always was asking my dad, man, what's going on? Like, why we don't have money? Like, what? Like, we don't have food in the
Right.
fridge, right? He's like, no, God. I'm like, man, listen, it's like. So my first, growing up, my frustration was with God already on high level. So I go to the
Right.
kitchen. I'm like, I have to. So I'm talking with God, right? I'm like, listen, just tell me what's going on. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, my uncle have the money, he got the car, he got the food, and you're trying to tell me that we don't deserve it? Like, why? So I couldn't. One time I'm like, what's wrong with? I'm telling my dad, what's wrong with God, man? And he smashed my face. He's like, whatever God say, you have to believe it. You have to respect it. I'm like, yeah. So after this, I'm like, I'm afraid to actually have this conversation with him. So I'm gonna start just to have it with God. I'm like, at least he's not gonna smash
And
me,
that-
right?
And that's where you should have it, right? You should be having it with them.
And that's why growing up, I feel like working hard, it's really great, but providing more value mentally, it could be greater as a compensation. And that's why I feel like problem solver comes in, because the bigger the problem you solve, actually the bigger the compensation, like the more you make. And it's not just about money. It's just about, I love being valuable. I love to add value.
Yeah.
I don't like to be, oh, this guy came in. No, I want to be rememberable in this place. I have to figure out a problem and figure out the solution and go. Even if I don't get paid for that, but I know I did something that's called my passion.
Yeah, well, look, at the end of the day, as I said, and I want to clarify. First, I made the comment about the labor, because we got to understand that you only have a finite amount of labor, a life that you have, that you're gonna get return for that mental or physical labor. Now, everyone's individual on what their expectations are and what they need in life, and that's fine, man. I mean, like, if you want to be a billionaire, that's wonderful, man. It's awesome. If you want to just have just enough to put a roof over your head or live in the streets, man, that's your prerogative, right? More power to you, individual choice. What America in the free market and the way the system is set up, what I mean is an idea is that if you create something, you get to keep it, right? We got patent laws. You get, hopefully, I mean, it stays that way. But that's powerful. And what we found is the engine to creativity is if I get to keep what I create, at least a significant portion of it, then I'm going to be more apt to want to create, right? I want to continue to go. So that was really the engine for America is creating a system where individuals can come in, no matter what walk of life you're from, work hard, come up with ideas, physical or mental labor, and whatever you did, you were able to keep it if you did it right. Now, the only problem with billions of dollars of billionaires or trillionaires now is the ability of that kind of concentrated wealth to influence government.
Right.
So I have no problems if you live in your life on jets and you got your trillions of dollars and you're doing your thing. But as soon as you use that to control government, and it's happening, right? And Elon Musk of the world, there's no way. I mean, the guy's building, and I'm not blaming him what he's doing, you know. So my point is, you got to be careful as a balance. So what's happening is for the first time, it's not really the first time, but I guess again we're in that cycle is where we have the wealth distribution is skewed significantly.
Of course.
So and that's and I'm not saying that because we thinking we got to redistribute the wealth, not at all.
Right.
But what I'm saying is when that happens and you got a significant amount of power, because I told you money's power, significant amount of money sitting in a few people's hands that have the ability to be powerful, the biggest power you can do with that is buy politicians. And it happens.
100%.
That's corruption.
That's right.
So the ultimate corruption is circumventing the will of the people by buying my representative and having your will done instead of my will as a elected official should do. That's happening. It's always been, but the more you have a concentration of wealth, the more that happens, and it's been accelerating. So that's the only
the challenge
caution
right.
that we got to watch in society to say, how do we keep that apart and make sure that trillionaires can do their thing, but without influence? It's hard, it's difficult, it's part of the process, but just be aware that it's happening. But no, man, I mean, that's the love of America is you can come in and be, if you work hard enough and put your mind or physical labor, you can make anything you want to make. It truly is. It's still that way.
And
I believe it.
I'm really so grateful for this place. But before we start, you were saying it's hard for you to slow down. It's hard for you to actually get, just to stop working because you know that the competitors that they're not slowing down. And I love the mindset because this is how I think. Like, I feel like when she's like, let's go sleep, I'm like, okay, go sleep. I have a few hours right now. Let me do some work, send some emails, and, you know, I would love to create some more. Because that's how I think. I'm like, what if that dude is like, there is 7 hours between me and the Middle East, right? So I'm like, if that dude right now, he just wakes up, while I'm sleeping, he working. So, so I'm like, no way, I'll let him do that. Let me do it. So, but again, I'm not competitors, I promise. I just believe that I have that energy to actually increase and create with. So I would love to use it, not just go to sleep with it, right? So what about like why you say that?
You look, the other thing on top of that, when you just looked a thought, was when you was talking about, you know, your wife going to sleep or, you know, you need more time. Have a family and have a balance is difficult if the man's leading, you know, especially in a big company or in a professional nature. And so it requires an understanding spouse as well, right? An understanding family. And you want to do everything you can, and you got to fight to balance as much as you can to keep your family in the center of your attention. But they have to realize as well is that what you are providing is not given. And in today's world, we think it's given. I think it's automatic that you're going to have a roof over your head, you're going to have food. I am still today motivated by hunger, the fear of hunger, because I know that I can wake up tomorrow, it can all be gone. And the reason I don't get off the exit is because I know tomorrow we can have a financial collapse. I know this, we can go right in, I can lose everything. Now, would I fret over it? Because when you know the old saying is that money is the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. The worship of money is the evil. worshiping money over God and losing your way, chasing money and not understanding that it's an end result of what you're trying to accomplish.
I love that.
Right?
That's very great.
Right.
Yes,
So
yes.
so keep that in mind. But and it can be addictive, chasing it. But in the same light, the balance there is understanding that in America today, especially I talk about America, it's around the world, but especially in America because we've had it so wonderful for so long. People just believe that they're in a place where it just can't disappear. That the wealth can't disappear, and absolutely it's going to disappear. We're at the back end of this cycle, and we've got a lot of bad things happening to our infrastructure that could do that. So that motivates me every day I wake up. Is I know it can be gone tomorrow. Will I fret over, worry about what I lost? Not a single minute.
Right.
I won't miss it at all. But what I will be concerned about is being hungry and my family going hungry. As the man
100%.
providing, how am I going to do that? So that motivates me to always be thinking ahead on what I'm going to be doing. I'm not retiring. I'm always going to be plugged in to make sure that I have options. And the one thing my father taught me that was just golden is he forced me to work with all my uncles growing up at a very young age. I was like, I don't want to get up at 4 o'clock and go do plumbing. I don't want to go do construction. He said, Rick, what I want you to learn and get in life is options. You got to have options, because if you have options, you won't be working for the man, because you'll always have options, and you can always do the right thing and tell the man, no, I'm going to do what's right, or I'm moving on. And that is powerful. So when I was in school, when I had my first job, I always told myself when things got rough, I can go pull wrenches. I could go do cars. I can make a living doing cars. I can do construction. I had all those capabilities, and it was freeing. And it allowed me to be confident, to go into boardrooms at a very young age and look the president in the eye and tell him how I was thinking, even though if it was some naive stuff. I did it with confidence, with respect, but with confidence, knowing I want to worry about myself. And that resonated with the upper echelon, that I had something unique. And all it was a confidence in, I can go back to my roots, man. I know how to make a living. Because my one motivational factor in life is to make sure my family and I don't go hungry. And I'm always working around that. So that forces me not to get off the exit, to be engaged in some form or fashion. And then two, if I'm engaged, competition is always, and it's always a problem to be solved. I'm engaging hard because I'm all in or all out. So as long as I'm engaged, I'm all in, and that's going to be working. Requires a family that respects and understands what you're doing. You do your best to balance, but at the end of the day, they got to realize that what they have can be gone as well tomorrow, and that brings a whole different perspective. I think we lost that. I think people just assume it's going to be there, and then they blame you for working so hard and not being around you. It's like, guys, you don't understand. That disappears tomorrow. You've never been hungry, and trust me, if you ever were, you'll have a different perspective. So how do you get that to someone? By talking to them and try to get them without having to experience it. That's wisdom.
That's really, you know what? I feel like this is exactly what happened to my life. Like, 14 years ago, I think, in 2011, when the war started back home, I woke up with like completely nothing. I slept, we have two houses.
You lived it.
I lived every details of it. Like we lived in 2 houses, right? I'm in the school. I'm almost like I'm doing business administration. I'm one of the best student in there, and I'm entrepreneur. If you ask me if you want satellite, listen, I got it. Give me 2 hours. I go. I manifest it. I understand who's selling it, how much they're selling for, and if you want to finance it, I pay it cash and I give it to you payments. Just because you know me, right? You need a phone. I got the phone. What the phone is, like what color? Boom, I get the phone for you. And that's what's in my blood. Like it's just like whatever you want, I can deliver it. You can have a better price and maybe a better payment as well, and we both gonna win.
That's right.
And when the war happened, I woke up when my dad, he called me. He's like, put everything in a bag. We have to go. I'm like, where are we going? He's like, we're going for 7 days and we will be back. Don't worry, don't beg too much. And the 7 days haven't over yet. It's been 14 years. And I have to go on zero, right? We moved to Lebanon, like it's 30 minutes drive. We just have the car. And after like 2 months, you can't keep your car. You have to sell it or go back on, but you can't go back and forth. So my dad just sent it back home and he sold it. And now we actually get broke because we spent all the money that we have and we start sleeping in somebody's house, and he is really tight. He's like, yo, you guys have to go. I'm like, wow, So understanding this.
So you carry that with you every day you get out of bed.
Everywhere I wake
That's right.
up, everywhere, I'm
right.
like, people are like,
Motivated.
a lot of people think money is motivating me, and I promise I never ever in my life working for money. I don't think money value who I am, right? I think I value the money how I make it.
That's right.
I can sell drugs, make money,
That's right.
but I'm worth nothing. And I can help somebody and makes money. And
That's
now
right.
when I have more value, because this person will appreciate what I did for him.
That's right.
And that's what I feel like the mindset. I mean, man, I wake up every day. I'm like, listen, that day happened, so it could happen though. And sometimes, they say, oh, history repeat itself. So I'm like, listen,
You don't need, that's one history you don't need repeating.
Yeah, you have to be the hardest worker
No.
in the room everywhere I go. And I think that's what separates me. And again, I don't care how people look at it. I just know that I don't want my family to suffer, because my mom at that time sleeping in somebody's house, and I look into her eyes and I see my dad so weak and he can't do nothing, and my mom crying. And it's like, we are 4 men, and plus my brother was killed at that time, but
Yep.
we are 4 men and we can't actually do nothing for her, right? And I'm like, wow, I will never have this, I will never do that. I will never be able to live this moment no more. So that's why I wake up, I'm like, whatever it takes you want. Even when I go to my client, he's like, man, don't worry. I'm like, no, I can clean.
That's right. That's right.
I do it all because
And I did.
don't-
Yeah.
I just have to do it.
Did the same. Did the
Right.
same. But and I have so much respect for you, what you come from, because you could have gone, as I said, 2 different directions, right?
Yeah,
you could have
appreciate that.
taken that easy route and said, look what God did to me, and I'm going to go my own direction,
Right.
and versus saying, I'm gonna be the man I know I am, and step up and use that experience to make you a better man.
Right.
There's a God. He always makes us. He never tempts us. He tests us.
Absolutely.
And he's making you, if you accept it and understand and not blame him and realize he's instilling the steel inside of you. He's making you a better. He's prepping you for something
Right.
coming, something even bigger. So it's hard. I know when you go through it. It's hard for me, somebody like that's never
Right.
gone through it. And it's very hard for multiple generations that have never experienced even something close to what you just described.
Right.
And to sit there and watch them whine and cry about what they don't have, they have no perspective.
Right.
No perspective.
Right.
And that is creating the weak, as we discussed, the weak men of today. It's disheartening.
And that's why I think when you say, I relate so much when you say it's all like it's God, not me. It's His will, not me. It's His
right.
options, not me. And every day, like when we pray on the meal, every time I'm like, I know it's you bless us with it. I know this is something we have. I'm grateful for it, but it's not my hard work. It's your blessing. So we respect it. We're grateful
right.
for it. And I think this is when I see like somebody, he's like, bro, you're praying on the food? I'm like, why not? Like, you think you're eating like just because you deserve to eat?
Yeah.
Like, there is so much people are hungry right this moment.
That's right.
And
The
they may be
basics.
doing so much more than you, but God gave it to you for a reason, and I think you're better to be grateful for it. And yeah, I think that's something I'm grateful that He actually created me as a grateful man, because it's just tough to be not,
Yeah, and again, it's a perspective and understanding that, again, that I always start my prayers with, it's your will, not mine. I always remind myself, gotta remind myself, because that arrogance and that pride creeps in. It's the deadliest sin. And it is His will. Therefore, His will and His plan is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, whatever's happening to me is the perfect plan.
Of course.
And if He's my Father, and He is a loving Father, and He is my Father, He's molding me for something. So you see, that's a mindset. So I'm already doing it now. Versus bargaining. Now, if
Right.
I'm sitting there saying, hey, I'll do this and this and this if you do this and this and this.
Right.
No, that's not it. Father, it's your will.
Right.
It's your plan.
Right.
I am here for you.
Right.
I ask you, please
Right.
don't put me through it. I ask you not to put to
Mhm.
war. I ask you not
Mhm.
to force my family to flee.
Right.
But if I am forced to do that,
Right.
I realize it is your will. You're instilling it in me. I
Right.
might not like it, but I understand it. And that's the two things I gave to you today were mindsets, right?
Right.
Living in your amygdala versus, going into your frontal lobe
Right.
and having that mindset that it's God's plan, not yours. If you could just get that right in your head and right in your life,
Right.
things snap into place. They really do.
I believe so, and I think
Yeah.
that's what stop a lot of. Because I have a question after this, but I
Yeah.
think it's just the same answer would be because my question was like, why you think people making it and people failing most of the time?
Yeah.
What
Well,
do you think is different though?
yeah, I don't. You mean from a business perspective? What is
Like, I
what do
think-
you define as making it?
I think making it like, let's say, as you say, like taking care of their family, some like staying healthy, right? Staying in faith, keeping in a positive attitude, like as you say. I
Right.
think this is for me making it. I
Right.
see so much blessed man that they can't smile sometimes. They're
Right.
just angry or mad or like have some
Stress.
I would
or,
love
yeah.
to help, and that
Right.
stress again. So why do you think people have this type like two different outcomes?
You have, I mean, it starts. You're gonna fall into two buckets, and it starts, as I say, you go high, right? So you got, if we're all can agree that there's an absolute truth, your truth might not be my truth, but we can all agree on that. My truth now, I take one step down from that absolute truth and say my absolute is my God, and my God has a plan for me, and His will is perfect, and His will is and His plan is perfect, and His will is good. That's an establishment in my mind that I live by. That's the first alignment. I got to align to it. If I align to that and stay true to that, then my family can align to me.
Right.
And then success happens. However you define success, I'll be a happy, blessed man because I'll be part of peace. I'll be at peace, no matter what the conditions are around me happening. I will be at peace. So that is, if you don't have God in your life, I employ that you search, because that to me is the most fundamental part. If you're trying to live within this world, this three-dimensional world, and believe that there is no God, then anything goes, and that's what you're living in, a very confused,
It's a tough life.
chaotic world. It's a chaotic, confusing world,
Right.
and that is the strong eat the weak, and it's okay because there are no rules. If that's the case. Now, if in the business life success, who succeeds and who doesn't succeed, you can be the right, great, because God's playing His role, right? That's what I'm saying. I don't know what God's plan is, but you can do all the right things in life. You can do all the book knowledge stuff and still fail as a business. I don't know why. It's God's plan. But if you want to increase your chances of succeeding in life as it's related to producing a good income and solid business, whether that's a physical labor or mental labor, you don't have to go to college. Too many people are being forced to go to college.
Right.
There's a lot of opportunities. It's, as I stated, first and foremost is love. And you can't truly love unless you tie to the source of love.
Of course.
Then that is recognizing that I don't need your love. See, I get it from God. Therefore, I can give love.
Right.
So I can give, because relationships break apart, whether it's business and or personal relationships, is when you first meet someone. It's the wonderful time, right? When you're courting a girl, and because you're giving and she's giving, you're trying to impress each other. And at some point in a relationship, it stops and someone wants more than the other one can get, right? Because they both want to say, wait a minute, what about me, what about me? And then it becomes that. And then that's the tension, and starts to, and then all of a sudden people call it falling out of love, or the love has changed. You never got to the loving part, because you got to be tied and be secure with yourself. So once I'm secure with myself through my loving God who loves me, and no matter how people treat me in this world, you'll never walk with dirty shoes in my head. See, Gandhi knew it. Yeah. And therefore, I can stand above the fray. I won't go down in the black hole with your emotional state, and I will be there to put a hand down to help you up when I can, and stay in my logical form, knowing that I am always loved unconditionally by my God. If I didn't have that, I will fall back into myself and say, you owe me, or you need to give me before I give to you. And then it becomes a limited pie, right? On who gets what. Whereas this is love, true love, unconditional love. It's endless. So you got to tap into that fountain first before you can truly be at peace. And once you're at peace, you're confident. When you show confidence, people smell it on you, and people start to help you, and people start to come around you. People want to be part of your life, and you got all kind of people who want to be part of your life. But then you select which ones you want around you in your life, and then you can surround yourself with winners, same people as you that want to do the things you do and that have the values you have. And great things just happen. The great things happen. If you know it. If you decide you're going to be a drug dealer and you're going to do that as an example, who are you going to be hanging around with? Some really shady characters, right? Some immoral characters. Do you think your risk of success is increasing or decreasing? That you're not going to be shot, stabbed, or die one day. See what I'm saying? So strong leaders attract. Strong leaders select. Strong leaders build. They don't tear down. And they use the resources they have and help the people that come into their lives and select the ones that are ready to be part of that high performance team to do that. That's all part of it. That's in your personal life or your business life. If you can but it starts with you being comfortable with yourself. And you can't get comfortable with yourself unless you have an endless source of love, or you're going to always be asking for it, and then the relationships get weak. You know.
And go back to the ego, because I think when people lacking of love is just there, I think they edge God out most of the time. I think that's the source of being in an ego state is actually you are less connected to the source, because when you are connected, you actually don't need nobody, nothing, and you understand that you are at the perfect time in a perfect situation.
You need them for a different reason. You see what I mean? It's not about you anymore. It's about the relationship. God wants us in relationships, but and it's important. We're social creatures. But if you're in a relationship for the taking versus the giving, but when you can get in a position where you're always giving. So go back to business. When I'm in a servant leader position, what I can say that I see how people respond to me personally as a leader is you're genuine. You think of us first. And I can deliver the hardest. I mean, I can tell you that over my career, the hardest part of leading people is when you got to terminate people, right? And it happens. If you're going to be in business, there's times you got to terminate.
I love that.
Sometimes really good people got to be terminated because the company is just going through a restructuring, whatever it is. I have to deliver that message. I have to perform that if that's the case. But I can tell you, I do it with sincerity, genuine, honesty. And how can I help beyond this? Because first and foremost is you're my brother. You're my sister, my brother. I love you. I care for you. This is a situation we'll get through together. It's going to happen. It's decided. But let's make the best of it, right? And we move forward. The two things I've never experienced in my life was a skeleton cat in a tree. You know, people say, well, what's that have to do with this conversation? And that is, you don't have to fret and get freaked out and go call the fire department to get the cat out of the tree. It's not a crisis. The cat will get out of the tree on its own. Therefore, because if that's the case, cats go in the tree all the time without people seeing them, and we'll see skeletons in the tree. So no, we don't see that. So that's an unwarranted fear. The other unwarranted fear is when someone loses their position or job. If you're a professional, you work hard and you contribute, you will find another good opportunity and job. It might be a hard time, but you're probably not going to starve if you're a hard worker and you contribute. Not the greatest situation I like to deal with, but it's the fact of life. But those are so a lot of times leaders are afraid to engage in those conversations or they just treat people horribly. So separate the individual from the act, right? The position. There's an individual there and his position's been eliminated, but the person still exists. And you have to treat the person with love, respect, and kindness, and they move on. So if you just have that rhythm throughout your life, and truly, and that's love, thinking about the other person above self, then just great things tend to happen, even in bad situations.
Wow. That's powerful. And even like when you spoke about relationship as well, we went to Tony Robbins. I like Tony Robbins. That's what I mean. I think he's one of my mentors, so I respect this man so much. I was like working 16 hours in a restaurant in Jordan for $300 a month when I first time have the opportunity to read Tony Robbins' book.
Change your life?
it literally did. It's just like the way I was just thinking how, why my brother got killed. Like, so I was also, I was still, not in a peace relationship with God. And I'm like, why you took my brother, man? Like, so I was always thinking this way. And the book, he said, like, yo, like, he said, like, what if what happened for you didn't happen to you? And I was looking for the blessings that's in when my brother left. What blessing I have behind the situation?
Right.
What this situation could be delivering with the message behind it. And to be honest, like it could be tough for my family to hear me say that sometimes, but I feel like one of my biggest blessing was to be independent and to be like to show the man like I think the man in me shows up after my brother left because I was
Right.
depending too much on him.
Wow.
On he gonna fix my problem, he's gonna give me the money, he's gonna
Right.
fight for me. So when he left, I'm like, yo, you have to do it yourself now. And so it's really great. And one time he said also about relationship, he's like, relationship fail when someone think it's a place to take, not a place to give. And I think that's really the way you explained it is really awesome. So now if I know there is a lot of people listening, they love what you're saying. I love what you're saying. And if you want to give somebody just 5 steps, just 5 steps, it's going to help them to break through from where they are facing the challenge to somewhere that maybe where you at right now.
5 steps. The first is, as we stated, is to recognize that there's a higher power, and to seek that power.
Believe.
First believe that there's something beyond us, and no matter what faith you are or no faith, but find the faith. Right. And recognize that brings humility into your life first and foremost. But seek that power, and recognize that comes from outside of man, and then from that recognize when you can tap into that, it's the love. So true love allows when you feel like you have tapped into unconditional love, which cannot come from man. Again, we cannot love unconditionally, because we are conditioned to get love, because God provides love. So if you're not tapped in, you got to tap into that first, and then you'll learn to love and give of oneself, and not think of self first, think of others first, and you'll be confident, right? You'll show confidence, you'll be at peace, and then the confidence is what will start bringing people around you. And then you can start discerning the people around you, who you want around you, and who shouldn't be around you. Obviously, there's, some people are ready for those kind of conversations. Some people are not. And these are the 3 basic actions that have to happen before you really want to engage and lead people. And really do some soul searching on that, because it'll make you a tremendous leader if you can get to those first 3 points. And then when you engage, be that servant leader, whether it's in your family. If you're the man, head of the household, recognize that God has a purpose for you, that you are the head of the household to provide, that you should be tapped into that love and not be asking, but giving and protecting. And the wife has a role to play, the loving of the husband, the respect and protecting of the family as well. Both equal in God's eyes. There's no 100%. Alignment there. And then this is it. I mean, I don't apologize for my faith, because it's a big part of my success. Is you've got to be rooted in something more than man.
Right.
And so that's my advice: is seek that higher power, understand what unconditional love is, and it comes from that, and then be that loving individual, be that servant leader. Tremendous humility. What's going to happen is people see your genuineness, that you're not out to hurt them or take from them, that you're actually held to help and give. They're going to trust. Then you build trust. When you build trust, you build tremendous opportunities. And then when you bring a lot of people around you that have that capability of doing, whether it's mental or physical, and they trust you, then you got something powerful. Wow. Now you're onto a high performance team that you can just, whether it's a sports team, it's a business, or it's your personal life, You're going to do some really, really great things and you succeed in life.
Wow, I love that. I really heard this one a few days ago. I was listening to a course that I'm taking about sales, and this guy says he said like, if it's not in Bible, I don't do it, right? Which is, I love his standards too. So what he was saying is, you have to be somebody to be around somebody. You can't operate on low frequency on somebody who's like low vibration and expect for high frequency people, or like somebody who's doing big stuff, to be in your circle. You have to push yourself. You have to do better and work better. And that's when, right now, when you break it down, you really have to believe. You really have to be loved. You have to be a leader, and that's what's gonna create your environment.
That's right.
If you are a leader, you will be around leaders, right? But if you are not,
Well, that's a word that's thrown around a little bit, right? Because you can lead. You could be a horrible leader, right? I can lead people right off the end of a cliff. I
Right.
mean, there's
True.
tremendous leaders. So you got to be, but you want to be a servant leader,
Right.
and that means that you have to have the qualities I stated. And the thing you said about sales is my passion.
right,
And I'll leave you with the sales on that note. What we just described is what I was very excited about in my career of learning about sales was that it was a science. The sales process was built around science. And the way it was built around science was when they found out through sociological experiments that the human buying behavior is set, that we buy in the same pattern. All humans buy in the same pattern. So if once that pattern is set, then I can build a model around how I introduce my solutions to, and I got to follow that set pattern of how you buy. So how do you buy? The first thing you buy is me as a salesperson.
wow,
The second thing you buy is my company or what I'm producing.
right,
Third thing is the solution. And we got that in reverse, right? So when most people want to sell, they want to push their solution ahead of those two things. So I'll give you an example. If I go buy a Maserati and I walk on a car lot and the salesman comes out the door and he's missing a front tooth, he's in flip-flops and cut off jeans, and he's going to sell me that Maserati. He might be the best genuine individual
right,
in the net, but before he even says one word coming to me, I'm already, my mind, this is human nature, setting a relationship expectation with this individual and saying,
Right.
he does not meet the expectations of selling me this car.
that's right.
I'm just already setting that.
That's
It's human
right,
nature.
that's right.
Now, if we were on the same,
Perception is reality, right?
well, it's how we
In
buy.
sales, right.
So we're buying the individual, and if I want to make $1 million sale, I've got to have $1 million relationship. Now, if that guy was on the beach selling me a coconut, I would not think twice. And I'm not judging the guy.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that
Right.
individual. So just know that. So I'm buying it. Then I want to know the dealership. So the guy's coming. Then I want to know about the dealership. Have they been around a long time? Are they a reputable company? Do they sell high-end cars? And are they willing to help me if I have a problem? Those things before I buy the car.
Right.
And I do this while I'm buying a pencil, while I'm buying a car, a house, or a business. Every human goes through that step. So once we know that, we can establish how we sell to someone. So why do I state that? Because we just stated how important it is to be genuine,
Right.
to be loving, caring, because people
Right.
smell that, they sense it. And if you're a salesperson and you really are genuine and really worried about me and
Right.
meeting my needs with solutions that you may not have, instead of pushing your solution on me of which I don't have a need for, there's a difference. Used car salesman versus a real car salesman, right?
Right. And that's the difference between giving and taking.
That's right.
Right.
I'm in it for me
Right.
because I got to make the sale. I've had
Right.
I've had salesmen sit across from me and say, hey man, I got kids in college, man. You got to buy something from me. Like it was my obligation to buy
Right.
something I don't need. Instead of saying, really understanding what my needs are and then saying, hey,
Wow,
you know what?
that's
I don't have
crazy,
solutions for
though.
that. But if you can get that mindset as a salesperson, and first and foremost, come in with humility, with understanding and caring about the individual's needs, spend time to build a relationship to uncover those high yield needs, and then work together to figure out how you're going to solve them, you're going to be a hell of a salesman.
Wow. I
That's-
love that. I love that. No, I
Okay.
really love that. This is the whole course, man.
I know. I just gotta give
Yeah,
it to
that's
you.
really great. So, in one word, right?
Uh-huh.
What success mean to you?
Success means to me is that I have a healthy, beautiful family that loves God, that has God in their heart, and is doing God's work. That if I can have left this world imparting that on my family, then I'm a blessed and successful man.
Wow, that's a blessing. Thank you so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
Sorry for the deviations. You know?
No, that's exactly what we're here for.
Mhm.
I just love everything you did, you said, and I was like 100% connected to what you were saying, and I think this is really, really valuable. And I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for your time, and this is all for you because again, I believe if you know more, you can do more. If you do better, you will have better. And I think we all need knowledge because knowledge, when you apply it, is really power. A lot of people think, oh, if I know, I got it. No, if you apply it, you got it. But if you don't, you will not. And so help me out to be grateful for Dr. Rick. Thank you so much for your
appreciate it,
wisdom.
Al.
Thank you for your time. That really means a lot to us.
I appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
have tremendous
Of
respect for you.
course,
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you. And remember that God first. And I will see you at the top.
Mhm.